Hello, this is a quick walkthrough of LaunchDarkly's release observability and what it means for the people who use it. What we're looking at here is an example dashboard for a flag that was controlling an API migration for some sort of warehousing or inventory management system. And spoiler alert, things went poorly and we had to roll it back automatically. So what actually happened is that LaunchDarkly was automating the release by exposing more and more users to this new API endpoint and gradually routing traffic. And along the way, it was comparing the experience for those exposed to the new API endpoint compared to those who are getting the old API endpoint and seeing if there were any performance regressions along the way. And guess what? That's exactly what happened. So we noticed that HTTP 500 responses were actually spiking, but that's not the only thing we were measuring. We were also measuring things like document load latency, first contentful paint, largest contentful paint, all of these web vitals to indicate front-end performance, along with things like non-HTTP exception rate, generic HTTP error rate. These are all of the out-of-the-box, just basic metrics that you get by using LaunchDarkly observability. But of course, you can layer on any custom performance metrics as well as commercial metrics like conversion dips to make sure that the things are performing well. But in that case, if something does stop performing well, we'll be able to catch it, notify you, and automatically pause, or in this case, even automatically roll back. Now, my job as the person who's responsible for system health is to make sure that I can find the root cause and understand who was actually impacted by this. So let's start by seeing some of those signals. If we look at the monitoring tab, I'll actually get a pre-filtered view of all of the errors, logs, traces, sessions, etc. for those signals, that telemetry data, where a flag evaluation happens. So for the example with errors, these are errors that occurred in a trace where this flag was also evaluated. So this gives me a nice pre-filtered list of information to start to work from so that I don't have to go to some other dashboard, write complicated queries, and hope that I'm joining the data correctly, right? This gives us a smaller set and really narrows it down automatically for us. But because we've automatically rolled this back, the fire is already contained, so I should probably focus on the user experience. If we look at the feedback tab, and I look at some of that recent feedback that I've gotten, I can see these negative responses are significantly higher for the people who got that V2 endpoint versus the people who are on the stable V1. So yes, confirmed, people are not happy about it, and I don't blame them. So what do we do about this? Well, if we look at the audience tab, this will show us exactly who has been evaluating this flag and which variation they got. Now, this is all good for a day-to-day basis, but really what I'm concerned about is for the people in that guarded rollout, who was actually exposed to this guarded rollout. So not even just who evaluated the flag during that time period, but also who specifically received the unstable failed variation. This gives me my shortlist that I can pass to the customer success team of customers who are impacted, who we need to reach out to, as well as the exact metrics that they got. So how did it perform for them? So for example, if I'm going to be reaching out to Mark Lyons, great, I can look at his session specifically, see exactly where he clicked, what he was trying to do, where he was navigating through the product. And of course, this session, because it's all based on open telemetry with these observability SDKs, we're able to see all of the front end, back end performance and really dig into things like flag evaluations, all the detailed logs, or in this case, a distributed trace to show exactly where this problem actually originated. So he tried to get some of the new products. Something wasn't working well with that API. Let's go ahead and dig into that. And I can see actually on this span, as I look through all of the various different attributes, yes, it does show, okay, we were evaluating this flag. We got variation 2. This is lining up, right? People, something's going wrong with that variation 2. So let's figure out what that is. We've got the stack traces. We've got all the detail that we need. And in the year 2026, which is when I'm recording this, we shouldn't have to do that manually. So instead, I'm going to go ahead and layer on LaunchDarkly's AI. Now, instead of making you wait here as it was going through and querying errors and looking at various flags and everything, this is one that I just ran a little bit ago. And specifically, because we have the experience data, the flag and feature delivery data, we're able to actually pick out and notice patterns in various different variations that are controlled by flags to see which are performing better or which are performing worse. And that allowed our AI here to be able to notice, yes, it is that migrate warehouse API flag that is causing the decrease in performance that is resulting in a lot of these errors. And so its recommended action was to roll it back automatically. Now, of course, because we're LaunchDarkly and this was a started rollout, we already automatically rolled it back. So good job, well done. And so at this point, then we can use the same place to analyze the code base and automatically generate a PR in GitHub, for example. And once we run through that process again, even go through the flag cleanup and automatically clean up this flag once we're ready. Of course, we're not actually ready for that right now because I'm still actively evaluating it. So we're not going to let you automatically clean up. Just know that it's there to help with that life cycle. The overall point here is that LaunchDarkly was able to automate the release, able to automatically measure the experience for those who were exposed to this release versus those who were not, stop things in its tracks when there was a regression that was identified, and give you exactly the telemetry data and audience impact, the user impact that we need to make sure that you are minimizing that, keeping your customers happy, and able to triage very quickly. So I hope that this was helpful. This is, I think, something that is very useful as someone who has been on the hook for this sort of system before. It would have made my life so much easier if I had this at my fingertips, and I hope that you find it useful too. Please feel free to reach out to us. Go to launchdarkly.com, set up a demo or set up a conversation. We're always happy to chat. Thank you.